All right, let's get into today's top science stories with CTV's Science and Technology expert Dan Riskin. We're looking at some of the beautiful forest country, likely, I'm guessing, the west coast of Canada in this B-roll here. But Dan, there's a big issue when it comes to deforestation. In COP26, they've been discussing that. More than 100 countries have agreed to end deforestation by 2030. And you know, when you hear 2030, some people might think 2030, that's not that far away now.
Yeah, and they're right. It's not that far away. This is a big deal. This is $19 billion from all the rich countries going to countries with less money but bigger forests. So you take places like the Democratic Republic of Congo, Indonesia, Brazil. These are places that hold the lungs of our planet, but we're all sort of helpless on the sidelines as those countries make policies about what they want to do with their own land. They have autonomy, of course. And so here you have economic pressure, the dollar's speaking. Canada has pitched in, a whole bunch of countries saying, look, we're going to, countries and private industry as well, actually, giving $19 billion to those countries to leave their forests intact, to make it viable for them so they're not forced to take an economic hit by losing out on all the money they would make by turning that land to agriculture, for example. And so for countries like Brazil, you know, that's where biodiversity is so high, and we all want that biodiversity to persist, and we also want all the benefits of those forests pulling carbon dioxide out of the air. And so hopefully this big announcement from COP26 will point us in the right direction, and we might see them follow through on this promise of no deforestation by the end of this decade.
Yeah, a big promise indeed, with a big price tag, as you mentioned, but very crucial for sure. All right, another story, perhaps a little more amusing or smile-inducing, is you're answering the question of why dogs tilt their heads.
Yes, and you did that so well, which makes me think you're a very good dog, Nick. But
yes.
This is a study where they had 40 dogs, and they weren't trying to study the head tilting thing, but it just happened. They were studying 40 dogs, and they were doing a thing where they trained the dogs to do a very difficult task, where you tell the dog, go in the other room, get the rope, and come back. And so the dog has to go in the other room, know which object is the rope, and bring it back, or the stuffy, or whatever object it's asked to go get on that instance. Out of 40 dogs, only 7 of them were smart enough to be able to do this. They all happen to be border collies, by the way, which tells you something about border collies. But what's cool is that when they looked at the performance of these animals, those dogs that could figure it out, those small minority, 7 out of 40 dogs, when they were asked to go get something, 46% of the time they tilted their head and looked at their master with that little funny look before they went and got it. And the dogs that couldn't figure it out didn't do the head tilt. Only 2% of trials had that. So what scientists are saying is that it may be that when a dog does this, it's trying to figure out what you're thinking. It's trying to figure out what's going on inside your head to understand what you're communicating to it. And there may be other reasons they do it, and maybe not all dogs that do it are the smart dogs. But if your dog's doing that to you, you can give a little pat on the head and say, oh, you're such a smart dog. And they're all smart dogs. They're all great. All
right. Hey, good job, Fido. You tilted your head as you heard my voice. All right, Dan, we always appreciate our conversations with you, and we try to understand it as well. Thanks so much. Great to chat with you. We'll talk to you soon.